not exactly sure how promising that is. Alright, it's about to rain, and I just mixed 50-50 sugar and potassium, and I need to do a burn test to make sure we are using potassium nitrate. Alright, that's definitely potassium nitrate, so I'm gonna put it in a ball mill and make some C6 composition. Alright, so yesterday I got this potassium nitrate and I just checked inside and tested it with the sugar, as you saw. There is some, I think, copper 2 sulfate, and I just checked it should not react with the black powder whatsoever. And if you know anything I need to know about black powder and copper 2 sulfate, because I'll be probably anyways recrystallizing this potassium nitrate for the rest of the compositions, let me know in the comments, because that should be good to know. So I'm currently eating and chatting with the GPT how do I crumble the charcoal. So yeah, hopefully he'll give me some ideas that do not include too much mess. Alright, so I just woke up and I need to film this video about granulation. I need to make the breakfast now and I'll start filming.
Hopefully we're going to get to the tallest point.
This morning I have a little task to do besides others. Is yesterday I made, or I thought I made a C6 composition, but actually I used store-bought charcoal, which looks like is not burnt or cooked evenly as I do it for my pyrotechnics. There is some wood that is not yet cooked or burnt to the chars. So we have the composition, and you'll see now the burn test, and I'll explain what's happening or what I think is happening. The composition is not milled really well, but I think the potassium nitrate is milled pretty nicely, and the actual charcoal is the problem. Hey! Go. Dizzy. There is also some strands of uncharred wood, and that's what I'm talking about. This is not yet prepared wood for pyrotechnics. I'm gonna use this composition for gardening, and I'll just start milling new C6. That's the problem. Those chars, those can be falling into the grass when I shoot the shells or whatever pyrotechnics I decide to put this in. This happened with my first batch of tiger tails years ago. And I think we found the problem. The more you try and test out things, for example, yesterday I just bought the charcoal from the store for the barbecue, and today we learned that unburned wood will lead to those unburned chars that can fall out of the sky from your stars. and that's a very important lesson for me. Burning metals is not what we want to do on the shooting day, and for years I asked myself what I did wrong with those stars. Was it the charcoal? Was it the potassium nitrate? The closest to the effect that those stars made, you can see the video, is those jars I just showed you on this video. So I'm gonna use homemade charcoal. I just baked it yesterday, 132 grams. It's still in chunks, and it's much lighter than the stuff I bought yesterday. And the stuff I bought yesterday is actually here. It's baked, and later I'll see if it's any better. Is it lighter or still heavy as lead? So this comes from, so thank you people from Chile. We have nice potassium nitrate, I think so. The sign, produced in Chile. Say hi to my people from Chile. That's 70 grams, alright. 52 more, adding up to 132. And prevent the dust immediately. In the last few milling sessions, I'm always putting markings what I'm milling inside.
Pushing to the mountain.
This is the exact time that it got broken.
I gotta run fast, the rain is picking up.
I was filming the fields and the rain started pouring, and the derailleur, or the gearbox, let's call it, got up some grass and just broke on. I remember very well that I was strolling without the derailleur and without the chain through the puddles and rain. So I finished that task for one evening. I put the new parts I bought and the bicycle was done.
So there's a charcoal from the shreds, same thing but a bit bigger chunks, and this is how it looks when it's baked. It does indeed, of course, melt into the dust, much better than the store-bought one.
So the days were getting a bit brighter and I fixed the bike, I baked the charcoal, and then when I went to the dentist next day, I get information that I need to do a tooth surgery. That's gonna change my plans a lot. I started planning to do things much faster before I need to go and take that thing out and probably suffer next few weeks. So yeah, let's jump back to me complaining about that tooth anesthesia.
I've just been to the dentist and I'm currently under anesthesia. Nothing serious, but today I should be finishing those around C6 stars to crackle. You're back in business. A lot of lighting bulbs for tonight. Also here, and we should get a much better picture than last time, and plus a new phone. First off, I need to separate all of these smaller stars. So these will go first.
There is the freshly milled C6 composition, and I'll first use this batch, 400 grams, and then I have more right there.
larger, they eat up a lot more composition. You can see the bucket, it's almost empty. It has around more than 100 grams left, and yeah, the process is going really good here. They are getting very round, and I'm using my time to get them round, and that's by allowing them to roll on the sides of the bucket. I'm also closing the buckets with the lid to prevent the dust and prevent losing the mixture in the air, and also most importantly, I'm reducing the noise for myself in the garage. So I just did a little test for these little ones, just to check if there is a dragon egg or turtle star in the middle. Sometimes if you put too much mixture, the smaller stars will start to build up in your roller. I just wanted to check that because I do not want to roll some stars that do not have the dragon egg inside. So I'll do this little batch and continue with this one. So what I noticed is these stars are growing much bigger when you're rolling smaller batch. There is much larger surface area that needs to be covered, so as they get bigger, the more surface area needs to be covered with more mixture, obviously. Now, as they have grown bigger, I can combine them with this other batch and start rolling one batch. And actually these in star roller are a bit bigger than this in the bowl, so yeah, pretty cool. Alright guys, it's 11:30 and midnight and I'm sorting out the stars. We'll try to finish them as much as I can tomorrow. They're so gorgeous, especially these big ones. I don't know if it's in the frame, but big ones, middle size, and the smallest ones. I do it by hand because I still didn't manage to make my sorting buckets. Big, I think. And the rest of this will go in the middle size. And that's not all. I have the starters, even smaller than these ones. You can see which one is the biggest one when you shake them. And always the big ones will appear up top. So these are pretty much the same with these. These are dry. These are, I call them starters for this session. These ones are the biggest ones from this session. Middle size. Small ones. Alright, enough of these goodies, let's move on to making purified potassium nitrate because I'll be needing it.
After that failure with the previous one, I'm starting over with a new batch of potassium nitrate, and I have the bowl on the stove. I'll put tap water. I have also prepared my filtration, let's call it device, with some tissue on top with a rope, and I'll start pouring when the mixture of potassium nitrate and tap water cools down a little bit, because this is plastic, should hold higher temperatures, but it's gonna be safer, and wait a little bit, then I'll start to pour. 4.5 kilograms of potassium nitrate. Alright, around 800 grams right here. Another round of 900 grams. That's gonna be pretty much it for this batch, because as you can see the bowl is overfilling at this point. So 800, 900 and 900, so let's add 150 more. Potassium nitrate has pretty drastic solubility curve. As the temperature rises, you can dissolve a lot of potassium nitrate in 1 liter of water. I didn't get it to the boiling point, but I'm gonna start to pour through the filter, and you can see the clear crystals on the side, which is a good sign. Alright, that was a good pour, and I'll show you why. That right there is copper 2 sulfate, and I didn't want that to be in my fireworks, so that's separated. I'm not sure at what temperature this melts, but that's awesome to see. Also, you can see it here, and all of the tiny impurities are also right there, and some bigger ones. I'm gonna clean this bowl and we'll do the second batch.
So to put all of this in perspective, I did a little bit of research about these salts, about potassium nitrate and copper 2 sulfate. The potassium nitrate has much more exponential growth when it comes to solubility in hot water as the temperature rises, as we can see here. As the temperature rises, more grams of potassium nitrate will be dissolved in water. And on the other side, for copper 2 sulfate, we have more likely linear growth for the solubility in water. And for the recrystallization, as the temperature drops back to, let's say, 0, copper 2 sulfate will regrow its crystals much slower as temperature drops, and potassium nitrate will grow back its crystals much faster. And one other thing to know is that the crystals of these salts will not mix together because they have different positive and negative ions that have different charge and have different size. And that's another thing why I think that I got very nicely purified potassium nitrate for my next devices. So my conclusion is that I got much cleaner potassium nitrate because as fast as I pour that solution back through the filter, the potassium nitrate will grow the crystals back much faster. As I jiggle back with the solution and pour it away in different bowls, I was able to separate potassium nitrate crystals from the copper 2 crystals that started forming. And the main conclusion is there are potentially some copper 2 sulfates in this potassium nitrate, but it's a good thing to know that these two salts will not affect or react in normal conditions. Only some chemical reactions after they are burned, but not something that will occur on itself. If any chemists from you guys have something to say about this as a concern, please share it in the comments so we all learn from this.
I just poured all of that water into a separate bowl. All of those are tiny potassium nitrate crystals. What I want to do is get some of this potassium nitrate and dry it out, because I need to make another batch of C6, and I've used all of my potassium nitrate. This is the second batch after pouring, and if you're asking me, another successful pour. What I'm basically doing is like frying it, not in oil, but just evaporating excessive moisture that we do not need when we are going to ball mill this. So I'm gonna do all of this first batch, part of the first batch. Now, it'd be preferred to have a mask. So I'm not gonna be doing this on the highest temperature here. I'm gonna do it a bit on the side. This is not going to ignite, but I do not want to kind of melt it with high temperature. I'm just gonna dry it here. This is the second batch, and look, all of these crystals. Alright, I'm gonna dump all of the water I have here. Rest of the solution is in these buckets. I'll bake it up in that bucket, that white one I just showed you, and I'll dump it in the fridge because the solution holds the temperature so good that I heated up like 2 hours ago or 3 hours ago and it's still very warm. For the drying part, you should allow your potassium nitrate solution to cool down evenly and slowly. Do not use any cold water or anything. I don't know about the freezer, but what's the point? Get bigger crystals and you'll get much clearer potassium nitrate, and it's going to be much easier to dry it in a pan. I have my mask on.
Alright, let's just summarize it on the potassium nitrate while I pack it and measure it. So I started off with 4.5 kilograms of it and ended up crystallizing 3.4. So 1.1 kilograms. Part of that was left somewhere in the process. Part of that was yet to be crystallized in the last solution that I have cooling down right now.
We lost for now 1.1 kilogram, but I'm not sure that's true because I have more solution, and I mean I didn't drop like more than 100 grams on the floor, not even like 50 grams, but alright guys, yesterday I thought I didn't find the proper solution for drying the potassium nitrate, but a much better solution for drying it is to dry it in the oven. 110 grams more of potassium nitrate. What's that? What's that?